welcome back. Happy Friday. I'm Katie and this is Katie's Critter Corner. Today joining me I have Geo, my 10-year-old Redfoot tortoise, and then I have my newest addition. This is Johnny. He is a Russian tortoise. Not quite sure how old he is. He is a true male, she's a true female. He is a rescue, so previously before his past owner had him, they got him from a pet store, so we're really not sure how old he is. These guys are perfect because if you follow me on social media, you know, you might have even seen all over the pet pages for Canonsburg, Washington. Geo got out and she was gone for roughly 3 days. So this is an important topic because I feel like a lot of people who have tortoises, this is an oversight for them, or if you're new to tortoise keeping, I mean, obviously me, I'm not new to reptiles and I still lost my tortoise. So I feel like this is an important topic for us to discuss, especially with the weather conditions getting cold. And if you keep your tortoises outside, like Geo, she is exclusively in the warmer months. She lives outside. Now I am gonna start bringing her in as the weather gets colder, but on nice warm days, even rainy days, because she's a rainforest tortoise. So she loves to be wet and moist. The rain really gets her active and moving. Whereas Johnny, on the other hand, he is a more arid tortoise. He likes it dry. Not saying that he doesn't want or need a water source, but they have two different living conditions that they prefer. So my main point with this video is, if you're keeping tortoises outside, or you have a tortoise that goes outside, and even if it's supervised, these guys can get away fast. So backstory to Geo disappearing. Right off of my porch, she has an enclosure. She has a grass portion that's all fenced in. Then she has a little ramp that goes up into a huge dig box. And in there, she has a mix of sand and soil. She has basking rocks in there, her food, her big water dish. She has all of her amenities up there. So she loves to go in the grass portion, and I should have known better because she's the kind of girl who likes to dig. Now, she's not a burrowing tortoise. She's not a tortoise who will brumate, which is reptile hibernation. So that's not something that she's looking to do. She is just really curious, and Redfoots are known for being very exploratory. So I came home from somewhere around 5 o'clock and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just lay down, I'm gonna take a little nap. And then when I went out at 7 to check on her, like I do every single night, just to make sure that she's settling in nicely for the evening, I noticed that she had dug up one of her fence posts and let herself out. Now, she has dug at them before, but actually like digging it up to a point where she could get out, I was shocked. And of course I had no idea where she was. I couldn't see her anywhere. She's not a small girl, but she was on the move, and she was on the move fast. So Luke and I went out, we looked for her, we couldn't find her anywhere. So the following day, I was like, what am I gonna do? I had friends come over, we looked first thing in the morning because they're more active. As soon as the sun comes up and it's starting to warm up, they're cold-blooded, so they wanna get warm for the day. So nobody could find her. And I started to panic and started to get really worried because I genuinely thought I was gonna find her like first thing in the morning. She was gonna be hungry. This tortoise is used to 3 meals per day. Like, her being out on the lam looking for food is just not something I picture her doing. So I really was optimistic that we were gonna find her, but we didn't. So I really want to say a special thank you to all my coworkers, the clients, and people that I didn't even know that came and looked for her even without me. Like, they're like, hey, like, I saw on the post like where your location was. I was out looking for her. I couldn't find her. Unfortunately, I did talk to people. I think we pretty much talked to everybody in my neighborhood. I also had another coworker, shout out to Rose. She made flyers for Geo and we hung them up everywhere. You know, Tara Galati, you're another one. I appreciate you so much coming out and looking. Caitlin, like, you guys were seriously so helpful. Kaylin, like, I really cannot thank you guys enough. I can't thank all the people that shared. She had over 350 shares on Facebook to try to find her. My sister-in-law, she's so fantastic. She came and helped me look as well. So anyway, Geo was gone. So anyways, I kept getting this feeling that she wasn't far, because typically tortoises, when they get out, they don't travel too far. So I had a feeling that she was gonna be somewhere close to the house. I was putting out all of her favorite snacks, trying to lure her back to her area. Typically, once these guys set up shop, they like to stay around where they're most comfortable. But again, I didn't know, like, I've never truly like lost her before. So I just wasn't sure. So anyway, on the third day, I'm really starting to get antsy. I'm like, I have to find her before the weather gets cold, because like I said, she is not a tortoise who will brumate. She would not survive the winter here in Pennsylvania. Johnny, on the other hand, if he got out, he would survive. I'm pretty confident they are a tortoise who will burrow and brumate for the winter. So third day comes along, and evening's rolling around, and we're still looking, no sign of her anywhere. I knew rain was coming, so I was really excited, because I know the rain always makes her really active and draws her out. And we were walking around the shed, and we kept hearing like noises, and there's a brush pile up against the shed. And of course, my grandmother, sweet Donna, she finds her. And let me tell you, I will attach photos of what she looked like when we found her. She was a dirt ball. Like, you see her, she has yellow, red, she's very pretty. Her shell isn't just solid brown. And when I found her, she looked like a mud tortoise. Like, she was just a solid brown color. I didn't even, like, I knew it was her, obviously, because of her size and what her shell looks like, but she did not look like her normal self. So we gave her a bath. She ate all her favorite foods, and now she is not allowed in her grass area of her enclosure. So next year we're getting a total revamp of the tortoise pen, and I'm considering keeping this guy outside. So this brings me to the whole reason for this video. If you keep tortoises, you think you want to get a tortoise, because I won't lie, when you meet a tortoise, you're like, oh my gosh, I totally want to get one. These are fantastic animals, pets. They're just so fun to keep, because they have the ability to be outside during the warm summer months. But you cannot overlook that these guys are very exploratory. So Russian tortoises, these guys are known to burrow. So if you're gonna keep them outside, it's super important that you really think out a good pen for them to stay in. You really have to extend your fencing at least 18 inches underground, because they can actually burrow 2 feet underground. So they are notorious for getting out. They'll dig under their fencing, they will create a burrow, and then you basically just lose them and you can't find them. Then they reemerge when the weather becomes nicer, and at that point, you're lucky if they stayed close enough where you do find them, or sometimes they get out, they burrow so far, and then you kind of just lose them and you never get them back. So these guys will survive the winter, but my point is you can keep these guys outside all year round, is given the temperature in your area. Like if you're watching this in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, like all those places, you can keep these guys safely outside. Geo, you can't. Russian tortoises, you can. So my point is, when you're picking a tortoise species, you really need to, one, know where you're going to be keeping them, especially if you know you're getting a male or a female. Males stay smaller than females do. Like, look at this size difference. A full-grown male versus a full-grown female. So for him, I can get a tortoise table. I can buy something that he's going to fit in easily. Geo, on the other hand, I have to make everything that she lives in. She is not the kind of tortoise that you set and forget, you just buy what you need and move on. She is definitely a thought out project, as they all are to a certain extent, but if you're getting a species that gets larger, like a sulcata, for example, you're really gonna have to think about where you're gonna keep this pet. And it really doesn't matter which species. They all really want to explore. Russians, for example, are known to climb fencing. So any of those like wire, even chicken fencing. I've seen these guys, if 2 walls are butted up against each other just enough, they can actually climb up a wall and get out. They are just true escape artists. I call Geo a Houdini because they're strong too. They will use their shell. And I've seen her do this before. They will use their shell, they'll find where they want to get out, and they will push themselves through things and up. Like I've seen her pick up a barrier, like put her head under it, slide it up underneath one of her scoots here, and she just pushes until she bulldozes through what she wants to get through. So you really need to think about what your enclosure is going to look like, how big it's going to be, and how you're going to secure it. So I really have to think of a smart idea next year, especially if I'm going to put this little guy outside. Now, Miss Geo, I did get an air tag. Shout out to Mary Duffy, who dropped one off at the clinic for me. She was like, your tortoise needs this because I cannot bear to go through this again. And I'm like, neither can I. I don't think anybody can. I don't think anybody on social media can, because like I said, she was all over Facebook. So I got an air tag, and I have looked up people that have done this, other influencers that have put air tags on their tortoises. So where you want to do it, it would be on the back side of their shell down here. And when you're applying it, you would want to use an aquarium safe epoxy. So tortoises can absorb things through their shell. They have nerve endings on their shell. You would never want to put anything on your tortoise that is toxic, that could harm them. But in this case, when you have a tortoise who lives primarily outdoors when it is nice outside, you gotta have a way to track them down. Now, I don't necessarily know if that's something I would ever put on the little guy here, just because he doesn't have as much space. And also, I'm not committed to keeping him fully outdoors just because of how he burrows, and I don't know how I would put fencing 18 inches under the ground in my area. So Miss Geo is absolutely next summer, because she is about to come in for the fall and winter. She's getting an air tag using aquarium safe epoxy put on her shell, so that next year I do not have to worry, hopefully, about her getting out. Like I said, there's going to be upgrades to her pen outside, but that doesn't mean they can't escape. They truly are so smart, so exploratory, and way faster than we give them credit for. So moral of the story, if you're going to keep an outdoor tortoise, one, know your species, know what they're going to do when they're outside. Of course, you can't predict their behavior, but a lot of these species have very specific traits that they like to do. Like these guys like to dig and burrow. These ones just want to expand their territory. So please be sure to do your research. Also, if you're going to get a tortoise and you know you want something small, look for a male and look for a species that stays small. Of course, if you want a tortoise that you primarily keep outdoors, then you don't really have to worry about having a safe space indoors. Pick a species that is not a rainforest species that you can rely on burrowing and brumating through the winter and making it safely so that no animals, predators, or anything is going to get it. And then, of course, just also, I try to tell people this all the time, knowing the lifelong commitment that you're getting into. These are not pets that just live as long as a cat or a dog. I mean, this little guy can live upwards of 60 years plus. Geo can live 50 years plus. So really just knowing what commitment, time, money, and effort that you're getting into here. Of course, they are such fantastic pets that I definitely think they're worth it, but you do have to be in it to win it with these guys. They are truly family heirlooms. I said that in a previous video. So knowing what you're getting yourself into, always, always, always doing research. That's why we are here for you. Of course, if you have any questions, concerns, you want to bring a pet tortoise into your home, you need to make sure, one, that you have an exotic veterinarian near you, because these guys can get illnesses. Geo has a couple things that we're monitoring with her. He's actually going in for his first vet visit today. So that is something that you need to know. And of course, we're always here to help guide you and aid you. There are a few of us here at Pleasant Valley Veterinary Clinic that keep turtles and tortoises. So we are always, 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 always ready to answer questions and help you guys out. That's what we're here for. That is our job. And me, of course, this is my passion. This is what I like to do. So please don't hesitate to reach out to your veterinarian if you think you might want to bring one of these awesome guys and gals into your home. And of course, thank you for listening to Geo's escape story. I hope I never have to tell another one again, because that was so traumatic, and I literally did not sleep at night because I was so worried that she was out on the prowl. Meanwhile, she was 25 feet out my door. So thank you guys for tuning in this week. I appreciate you guys greatly, and I will see you next Friday. See you later.